If you've ever finished a paint job only to see cracks appearing a week later, or if your skirting boards look a bit rough around the edges, this video is for you. We're going to slow things down and show you exactly how to gap fill like a professional. Most people think gap filling is a quick job you do right before you grab the paintbrush, but it's actually the secret to a high-end finish. A bad job isn't usually down to the product. It's usually because of the wrong prep, rushing, or not understanding how the filler behaves as it dries. Let's get it right the first time. First up, you have to pick the right product. For your skirting boards, cornices, and timber trims, you want an acrylic gap filler. This is water-based, which means it's easy to clean up, it stays flexible enough to handle a bit of movement, and most importantly, it is paintable. Whatever you do, avoid using silicone here. Silicone is great for bathrooms, but paint will not stick to it. If you get silicone on your trims, you won't be able to paint over it. If you're dealing with a massive gap, anything over 5 mm, don't try to fill it in one hit. You'll want to use a backing rod to prevent it from cracking later on. Now, let's look at your nozzle. This is where the control starts. You want to cut your nozzle at a 45-degree angle. Start with a small hole and work your way up if you need to. You can cut it bigger later, but you can't cut it smaller. A good rule of thumb is to make the hole slightly larger than the gap. If the gap is 3 mm, your nozzle opening should be about 4 to 5. If you cut it too big, you'll end up with a mess and way too much cleanup. If it's too small, the filler won't actually bridge the gap. Remember, we're aiming for control here, not speed. Before we even touch that caulking gun, we have to talk about prep. If you search for why filler peels or cracks, the answer is almost always dust. Gap filler needs a clean, solid surface to grab onto. Take a moment to scrape away any old, loose filler or peeling paint. Use your Prep-It and a microfiber cloth to get rid of every bit of dust and debris. If the surface is dusty, the filler just sits on top of the dirt and will eventually fall out. Make sure the area is completely dry before you move on. When you're ready to apply, hold the gun at a 45-degree angle. Here is the big tip. Pull the bead, don't push it. By pulling the gun towards you, you get a much smoother, more consistent line. Keep a steady pace and make sure the filler is making contact with both sides of the gap. You want to bridge the gap fully and maybe even slightly overfill it just a touch. Don't worry if it isn't perfect straight off the gun. That is what the next step is for. This is where most DIYers ruin a good start. They overwork it. Grab your applicator tool and smooth the bead using even pressure. You want one clean pass. That's it. If you keep going back over the same spot, you'll end up pulling material out, creating ridges, and ruining that smooth finish. Keep some paper towels handy to wipe the excess off your tool after every stroke. If you need to blend the edges, a slightly damp sponge or a wet finger can help, but keep it minimal. Finally, give it time. Most fillers will skin over in about 20 minutes, but they need a few hours to fully cure, sometimes longer if it's a thick bead. If you paint too early, you'll trap moisture inside. This leads to the paint cracking or the filler losing its bond with the wall. If you're in doubt, just leave it a bit longer. Taking your time now means your rooms will look sharp for years, not just weeks. Once it's fully cured, you're ready to paint and enjoy those seamless lines.